Alright guys, let's take a look at number 18. The angle of depression from the top of a cliff 600 feet high to the ground floor of a house is 33 degrees and 40 minutes. To the nearest foot, how far is the house from the base of the cliff? So when you see this question, what you want to do is you kind of want to try to draw a pretty picture. So we have, it's going to be something like this. We're going to have a triangle. And in the question here, it says the angle of depression from the top of a cliff 600 feet high. So if I'm talking about height, then this is going to be the height, right? And then it says to the ground, the house is 33 degrees 40 minutes. And one thing to note here, a lot of students have issues with this. We said the angle of depression and the angle of elevation are both always made with the horizontal. So notice that this is my angle, not this one. If you're having issues, you probably made that your angle of depression. Don't do that. That would cause, well, me to be depressed. So this is depression. This is elevation. Okay? They are the same thing. If you really have issues with this question, unless they specify that the angle of elevation is different than the angle of depression, 9 times out of 10, this is going to be, this angle here is your angle of elevation and your depression. So, rewrite the question with angle of elevation and solve it. So this is going to be my 33 degrees, 40 minutes. Okay? And the question is asking to the nearest foot, how far is the house from the base of the cliff? So they're asking us for this distance. If my house is here, base of the cliff here, what is this distance? We'll call it x. Okay? I'm giving you opposite and adjacent. So SOHCAHTOA tells me I'm going to use tangent. So tan 33 degrees 40 minutes is equal to 600 over x. Okay? To solve this, you have these two here. So what math tells us to do is to find the answer to this is that you can switch this and this value. Okay, this is not the algebraic. This is not the pure algebraic way of solving this. But hopefully back in geometry, or because you're paying attention in class, you know that anytime you have this format, you can always take this number here and this value here, and you can switch it. And we'll go ahead and do that. And learning little shortcuts like this is beneficial. It saves you time. It makes the problems easier to solve. Okay, so memorizing little techniques, algebraic techniques, in the grand scheme of mathematics is going to help you out. So I'm going to go about solving this. And by the way, this question mentioned that it was talking about to the nearest foot. So one thing I could do if I just didn't want to think and wanted the calculator to do work, this is not hard to do in your head, but since I'm rounding to the nearest foot, I'm going to make, instead of float, I'm going to put it at 0 because that would just round. So I'm going to type it in. So 600 divided by tan 33, and I just go straight in. Second apps degree 40 second apps minutes, and you can do it anyway. If you rather just divide 40 by 60, and you'd get 33.666 or 33.67, you can do that. I'm just going to type it in like this, and let's see what we get. The answer is 901. And so the answer is going to be A. So if you're having any issues with rounding, again, you just hit mode. I put it to 0. I went from float to 0, and I got my answer. I'm going to put it back on float, and I encourage you to do that just because every question is going to ask you for some specific value. And if you don't change, and changing it back to float, being at the default is probably going to help you best. All right, hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that makes sense. The answer there, by the way, let me write that out, is 901. Okay, see you in the next video.